Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. This week's episode is your thoughts on Star Citizen 3.7 Live. That has gone live as of what? I think it was last Thursday, or this past Thursday. I can't even remember now. Last Thursday, we went to PTU, and then we went to live just a day ago, I think. I think it was Friday, and then Friday didn't really work very well. People were having login issues. So then Saturday was like kind of the first official day of live. But anyway, my opinion on it is I think this is the best patch release in the history of Star Citizen. I think it's the smoothest, the most stable, and the least bug-filled patch that we've ever had. I think this is the future, potentially, for what is to come for this patch. If they keep on this pace, I mean, everybody in Twitch chat is typing Kappa, but if you look back from 3.0, 2.0, 3.1, it's always had major issues in terms of horrible instability, game-breaking bugs where things just absolutely don't work. And the only bugs and issues that we ran into were very minor or avoidable for the most part. There were a couple there at the end of the stream today, actually, that were a quantum travel bug that's definitely in the known issues, and it's a little bit difficult to deal with. But I guess since they've made any sort of persistent universe, I think this is far and beyond the best patch that they've done. And I don't think that we've even scratched the surface of what this staggered development thing may do for us as a positive. And yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm excited for it. I'm very, very excited. And it's just for the future, is if they can keep this ball rolling and they can stay on this trend, it's if they can stay on this trend, I'm going to be very happy. So, I mean, especially at the very least, this is by far the best patch that we've had in 2019, right? 3.5, 3.6 were horrible patches. So, at the very least, in the last year, this is the best patch that we've had. I think it's great. I don't think it's like a great patch or anything. It wasn't filled with content or super exciting or anything. We have the RSI Mantis, which I'd like to discuss a little bit today. We have hand mining. We have, completely nerfed hand mining, which is kind of upsetting. We had mission sharing. I think those are the three main things. And all of those things, for the most part, work. So I think that's pretty cool. So if they stay with this and they stay on this trend, yeah, I think I'm going to be pretty happy with what we have. So, yeah, without, leaving it there, those are my thoughts. I think it's great. It obviously has some issues that they're going to work out or attempt to work out in a 0.1, which hopefully doesn't break anything majorly, and maybe a 0.2 or something. But other than that, I'm really happy with it. So I'd like to kind of hear what you guys have to say. And our first caller is Sunday of Doom. And for those of you guys that don't know, Sunday of Doom is one of the moderators on the channel, and he is the main moderator for Answer the Call. So if I didn't have Sunday, Answer the Call would have never happened. It would never work. It would be a disaster. So if you guys have ever called in, Sunday is usually the guy you speak to. He checks your microphone and makes sure that you don't sound too terrible. And yeah, he's really awesome. So if you guys are watching this on Twitch, show Sunday some love. Show the other mods some love, even though they're kind of... But definitely show Sunday some love. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, maybe leave a comment down below and let Sunday know that you appreciate him. If you guys appreciate Answer the Call. All right, Sunday, welcome to Answer the Call, man. So how you doing? How's everything?
Doing good.
All right. So now that I've sufficiently embarrassed you, what are your thoughts on 3.7 and how you feeling about it?
Well, this is the first time since 2.6 that I've actually played for more than 10 minutes.
Yeah. And is it because
that's a big one.
it's fun, or is it because of
Mostly because it's stable that enough that I'm getting like between 28 to 37 frames per second,
yeah,
so I don't feel sick playing it,
that's
and
true.
it's actually fun
Yeah.
and not crashing every 5 seconds.
What have you tried?
Well, I've been trying to do the hand mining, right? But so far I keep dying before I get to Hurston. It's just because of the interdictions where you get
Oh, the
the rock
rock. Are you
interdictions.
slamming into the rock?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
For some
So
reason, when I'm in my Cutlass, it doesn't switch over to the flight mode after like quickly. So I'm still in the spool mode while I'm heading towards the rock, and then as soon as it gets to flight mode, I'm already smashing into the rock,
yeah, I
so I
think
can't move it.
maybe I'm not dealing with that as much because we went to Hurston and we stayed there.
Yeah, I haven't gone to Hurston before,
Yeah,
so
we haven't left the
it,
Hurston area.
I basically went. I had the trek from Port Olisar to Levski, and that was my first time going to actually Levski, and then trying to find all the equipment I needed, and then and then and that was after crashing to a couple of rocks, and now I'm trying to get to from Levski to Hurston without dying.
Yeah.
But it honestly, it's more it because it's stable and no crashing. Uh, it's like it's almost as good as 0.9 to me. And 0.9 was my favorite patch because that was when everyone was on the equal footing. Didn't matter if you're an Aurora, a 300i, or a Hornet. You didn't really have that much of an advantage over each other, and because that was back when we had the auto aim thing,
Mm-hmm.
where it would not let you um, aim your manually. It would just as soon as you get your crosshair over the diamond, the green diamond, you would just automatically start uh, the turrets would, or the gimbals would automatically start tracking them. And there was almost no bugs back in 0.9, which was funny for a first release of combat.
That's
But
true.
yeah, like,
And that was, I mean, those were the glory days. We all still talk about those days,
yeah,
but it's now we have the PU, so it's so different.
yeah, it it feels way better than in any other like PU patch. Like every time I
Yeah.
tried to join in, I either crashed immediately or it
Mm-hmm.
was like 5 to 10 FPS, and I was using a 1070, so I was like, "What the heck? I just bought this like $700 card in Canada at least, uh, you know, and I can barely get any frames off of this." And I just gave up on it and just went back to Stardew or
Whatever.
other
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
I think uh I think that's what a lot of people experience when they play is they're kind of just like I don't know what is going like I don't understand why my computer can't play this game or oh my frames are so bad, but it's not that's not on you, that's on them, right? It's got nothing to do with your hardware. It's got everything
Mhm.
to do with their the fact that they've piled everything they possibly could into one server and now they have to figure out how to connect multiple servers together. And I've said this before and I'll say it again is I don't like I totally understand guys like you who say, "Oh, you know, my frames aren't good. It's kind of making me sick and the game, doesn't it's not fully featured yet. So I'm going to put it down
Mhm.
and enjoy games like Stardew or whatever." But there are another group of people that and I've been in this group that get like super upset, right? And they're like, "Oh, 30 frames a second, $250 million. This is ridiculous, blah 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 blah." But like
I
your
got
two
that
hundred
way.
fifty
Yeah.
million dollars, I think we've all felt that at some point. But like
Mhm.
your $250 million is going towards this. I think maybe too much of it went towards the fidelity, but some of it went
Mhm.
towards the server meshing, the network code, object container streaming, server side object container streaming, and all that. So at least some of our money has gone to that. And until that work is starting to get implemented or finished, I don't want to judge like our frame rates as like this is what it is. It's just what it is today. It is what it is right now, but I don't think it is
Mhm.
what it's going to be forever kind of thing. So, yeah. But I don't know what else like from streams that you watch, do you see like I'm sure you see me enjoying it more. Do you see that with like
Mhm.
other streamers if you've watched any?
I haven't seen any. Like I don't normally I watch Burke or um Timac
Yeah, they haven't
like as
played
my
yet,
other
have they?
streamers. No, they've been playing 7 Days to Die, so I was like, oh, I'm wondering when they're actually gonna jump in because this is a good patch for them.
Yeah, because it
They
actually
actually could have
works.
some fun with it.
VoIP
Yeah.
is kind of working, kind of. We had so for those of you guys that don't may not know, as we jumped in, VoIP was working perfectly, but uh, VoIP was crashing all of us. So we had to turn it off and then go into Discord, but it was working. Where like in previous patches, we couldn't even turn it on and speak to each other, but we all were in VoIP together at one point. So it's getting there. But I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add? I definitely want to keep today's show short because I imagine most people are going to be feeling pretty positive about today, and
No, nothing
I
else.
think we'll be sharing probably similar things. So I think it'll be a short. How's everybody feeling? Is everybody liking it? Do we, all that stuff?
Mhm.
How now after playing today's patch
Mhm.
or 3.7? How do you feel about the future of Star Citizen? Like in comparison to how you felt about the future of Star Citizen maybe 6 months ago.
Oh, I feel like it's about this is when it's about to stick. Like if after 2.6 was like, ooh, we're in a we're in the you know what I mean, like in the shit zone
Yeah,
where everything is just shit.
yeah,
We've ejected out of the toilet and now we're going to the bathtub. So everything's starting to get clean. You know what I mean?
yeah. We were let's not use shit, but let's say we were like outside playing in the mud and we were dirty and
Okay.
there was bugs all over us and we're cleaning the bugs off. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I agree. It feels like they're on the right track. It feels like with the way they were trying to do development before, it was making things more difficult, and it wasn't. It was making things difficult on them. It was crappy for us, and it wasn't good for anybody. So they decided to make a change, and this patch doesn't have a lot of stuff in it. I named three things. One of those things is a spaceship. The other thing is a copy and paste of mining in a prospector, but with your hands, right?
Mhm.
And then we obviously have the caves and mission sharing, which mission sharing is also very basic right now. But overall, even though it's not like a huge patch with a ton of content, I think it's pretty exciting. Oh, ship rentals, somebody mentioned that as well, which we've been using a lot. So,
Well, I think because I think actually just to point out because they did the hand mining, it's now accessible by everybody on pretty
yeah,
much
it is.
because it's that prospector like just to rent it is like a million. I think it's a million credits, right?
No,
I
to
tried
rent it
looking
for
at it.
one day is 40,000.
Oh,
To
40,000.
rent
But
it
like
for
still,
30 days was 600,000, 700,000.
yeah. That's but that the fact that you can actually just go ahead with that starting credits and just
And just
buy all
go.
the stuff for the mining, and then bang, you just go to her. Well, if you can avoid the rocks,
Yeah.
you can get to Hurston and then try your luck out. Right? That's I think that's the key is that it's actually more accessible to people who are just like jumping in and are like, hey, I want to try mining. That hey, an actual mechanic that works and is fun.
No.
Okay, let's try it out.
Yeah, I
You don't have
agree.
to be in a prospector.
I think that's a big step because I
Yeah,
think
the
that was
next.
a big knock on it. It was that the prospector was hidden behind either a pretty big paywall or a lot of grinding in the game that someone with an Aurora would have a hard time doing.
hmm The
So,
next one would be to actually get like modular mining components for your ship. So if I'm in a Cutlass, I can get like maybe a mining thing that could be attached to the front, and then I could
I
get like some kind of tractor beam.
I don't
That's
like
that's
it.
what it was supposed to be. It was
That's
supposed
what it
to
was
be
supposed
that
to
in
be
a
a long
Cutlass.
time ago, but not anymore.
Yeah,
I like the
it
idea
would be nice.
of I like the idea of specialized ships, but I don't like I think it does work. I think it creates a situation where you say I have to go ahead. If I want to do this, I have to earn something to do it. I think that's cool. Like I'm on record saying that I hate the Mantis because I think it's a certain type of gameplay that shouldn't be specialized necessarily. I think it's I like the quantum dampen being specialized, but I still,
Mhm.
we'll go into that a little bit later. But I don't think things like mining, cargo hauling, or salvage, and maybe even some of the medical gameplay, I think that should all be pretty hyper specialized to certain ships. Because then it
I
kind of
think
you have classes then of ships, and you have um variety. If everybody can do everything, then it becomes Elite Dangerous. And you know what sucks about Elite Dangerous is that your ship can do everything, and then you get bored.
well, my perspective is that those ships would be the best to do those things. And if you had something where you could just like, hey, I just need to do something right now with it, like I just need to mine this one rock, or I want to do a little bit of it so I can get myself to that part where I'm getting a prospector.
I
I
think
think
that's
that's
where
not a
ship
bad
rentals
idea.
come in, and that's what's kind of great about one of the features that came into this patch. You
Yeah, but
spend
the
forty
problem would be
thousand. How
that
much would you spend on the tool to mine on your ship? Probably the same amount.
well, actually, yeah. How much are
Chip
weapons usually
components
these
are
days?
expensive.
I guess that's true. I guess that's true. But same with like with trading, everybody knows you can get pretty much even Aurora can trade with that store all box thing that they just shove into the thing
Yeah.
into the back. So it's not like trading is specialized. Uh, I just think maybe we could get some kind of tools to do something where if say we're interested in mining, but we don't have a mining ship at the start, it would be nice to actually have something to kind of start us off as we can start accumulating the money to then buy that proper mining ship. That's my idea at least.
I don't think contradicting is the right word, but I think you're contradicting yourself a little bit because you started it out with what I like about hand mining is everybody can do it. That's what it
hmm
is.
I guess yeah, you're right. You're right. Maybe just the hand mining is that's all you can do
Yeah.
is is to start off. All right, I'll concede that point.
All right. Is there
All right,
anything
now
I
we should
like
move
being
on to
right? It feels
Bellator.
good. Feels good. Well, you were right actually. I'm just letting you know that you were right in the beginning.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add before I go to our next guy?
No, no, no. I'm good.
All right. Well,
I gotta
as
start
always,
pounding through these
Sunday
guys.
with you in the call. Thank you for everything you do here for all of us. I appreciate it very much.
No worries.
Thanks,
Zeus
man.
does more though.
No, he doesn't.
Kazu, I don't know.
Kazu, we know
Kazu
doesn't
do.
do.
Oh.
He doesn't do
I'm
anything.
kidding. I'm kidding. Kazu,
He's the worst mod we
don't
have.
ban me.
Later, man. All right, and we're bringing on Bellatar. What's up, Bellatar?
Hi Mike, how you
Oh,
doing?
I'm well. I'm well. So what are your thoughts so far on 3.7? Have you jumped in? How much have you jumped in? And
I have jumped in, done a little bit of solo gameplay.
okay.
I've been looking at ETF, of course. So I pretty much agree with your attitude towards the patch. So I maybe just have to throw in a few details or thoughts around that.
Okay.
So nothing major diverging here. I think what it is most importantly is that it is a good step in the direction of this staggered dev and that they want to bring more quality of life to the PU.
Yeah.
I think it's a start for that. I was a little worried because they started ETF pretty late, really
Yes,
late.
I was really worried as well.
Yep. And I actually asked in chat whether that was intentional. I think Will answered, and they said they did so intentionally, and the reason was that they had issues in the past that if the initial patches were too crashy and too buggy, that they had a huge drop in attendance in people playing. And so they actually decided to do more polish internally so that people wouldn't get frustrated in testing the game so much. But then again, I think it worked out fine because they needed much fewer patches to get to a reasonable live experience as well. Because I think we were at patch M or something like that now when they went to live.
Yeah, when previously
And
we've gone
usually they needed a
past
few
Z.
ultimates. Excuse me?
We've gone past Z at times.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's also a good sign, so that they were actually able. They were a bit late, but I mean, if it's a week, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, I think what might help is with testing the patches even further might be that eternal discussion whether which parts of ETF should be under NDA. And I
At
think it
this
would be
point, none of it's under NDA, so it really
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I think the two really I don't want to put myself in a really big category. I don't want to put myself in the same sentence as Board Gamer because I don't think we are. But as far as like big ETF content creators, Board and I are probably the most well known and have been the most outspoken about the Evo thing. And at this point, it's all so far out in the open. I don't think we would be breaking NDA if we discussed anything other than our own personal experiences. But for me personally, I won't share any of it because CIG has done amazing things for me. I am personal friends with many people that work there, and I will forever respect them for what they've done for me and what they're doing there. And if they ask me not to do something by having me sign an NDA, then I will not break it, even though I don't even think I could possibly break it anymore because everything's just out in the open anyway as soon as it happens. So it really doesn't matter. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where you were going with it. So so sorry for interrupting, but yeah, just throwing that out there.
No problem. I think it's just that there's to me a pretty good compromise they could strike in the sense if they don't want unknowing people to see initial ETF video footage, that's maybe okay for image reasons. But just taking the patch notes and maybe screenshots officially of NDA so that streamers can jump in, bring their maybe not bring their community, but can help with bug fixing because those are long-term experienced players. I think that would help the quality of the game, maybe shorten the release cycle in sense of getting better bug reports more quickly, and it would help streamers as well as they could talk officially without any risk about patch notes and show a screenshot here or there to bring the hype. And the screenshot, I think, does nothing in regard to image.
See,
that would be my idea.
Okay, I'll probably be breaking NDA slightly, but I think it's all for the better so people understand a little bit more. I think ETF is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think ETF is perfect other than the leaks, right? So as in terms of there's focused testing by the ETF testers. As soon as a patch comes out, people are ready, they're excited. They go in and test it. And for somebody's asking in Twitch chat, so I figure I'll share it just in case for YouTube as well. For people who don't know what ETF is or Evocati, before a patch goes live for Star Citizen, it goes into a public test universe. But even before that, it goes into a special testing area called the Evocati Test Flight, or ETF. And that's for people who sign a non-disclosure agreement as well as have done tons of testing in the past and are dedicated. So as in terms of finding bugs and in terms of breaking and fixing those bugs, I don't think there's any issues in ETF at all. The only issues that arise from ETF and the NDA are for people like me and Board Gamer. And I'm totally fine with it. Board's totally fine with it now at this point. I think we've accepted what it is and have made our decisions as far as it goes. And I think it benefited me greatly being an ETF this time around. I had my patch notes video ready to go almost right away. And I as soon as the patch goes to PTU, I know exactly how to play the game, and I'm ready to share it with you. All right? So I don't think, as far as the future of Star Citizen, which is kind of where you're going, I don't think the future of Star Citizen needs necessarily an Evocati test flight fix. I think maybe...
maybe if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But...
Yeah, I would say it's not broken. The only difference that I would say is because it's so open and out there, as soon as Evocati happens, the patch notes are on Reddit and everybody knows. So I would say it still went to Evocati pretty late this time around, I would say. And it seemed like they were still smashing features in a little bit late, and this may have a result of, okay, well, we changed our development around completely again. We need to put something in this patch. So I think they came in maybe a little bit late with things, and I'm curious to see what happens with 3.8.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts about that? Let's ask you that, Bellatar. 3.8's got a lot more stuff on the roadmap than 3.7 did, and a lot more stuff in terms of heavy things, right? That can really break the game. So do we think we'll have as good of an experience in 3.8 as we are right now in 3.7?
Well, that's kind of the really interesting question, whether the good experience this patch was an outlier or will become the new rule. First of all, I do expect, as always, it's some time until this patch goes live, that there will be some shifting of features in and out according to what they manage to deliver and whatnot. But what I hope for is that they actually deliver on their promise to try and make whatever PU live version is out there a stable and enjoyable experience, and that they make the necessary decisions in regard to if a feature doesn't work and they don't get it finished until the go live is due, then just cut it out. I would prefer a more stable patch with less feature over a bug fest with more features.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like feature and gameplay elements, we had 10 entries for gameplay in 3.7. We only have, I gotta scroll down a little bit, 5 in 3.8. The big thing is the potential of there being server-side OCS and Microtech coming in. That would be the one thing.
Server-side OCS, is that really a thing?
Well, if Microtech is still on the roadmap, then server-side OCS is still partly implemented. Or they're switching out Hurston for Microtech. I don't know, right?
Or maybe Delamar, because it's not supposed to be in the system anyway.
Or maybe Delamar, but I don't think you can switch Microtech for Delamar and get... I think Microtech has more in it than Delamar would, right? It has moons and blah, 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 blah. So...
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that yet. I'll just follow the patch notes. I just hope that they prioritize stability and functionality over cramming features in.
Yeah.
That's what I hope for.
And I think we got just a tiny bit of that this time around. And I think what we need to do is really keep our eye on the roadmap and roadmap roundup over the next, I would say, 3 weeks. And they should start having, like, now that 3.7 is wrapping up, there might be like a 3.7.1 and 3.7.2, which will probably have like very small amount of teams working on it. So there's probably a lot of scheduling going on right now and go, no-go meetings for 3.8 and what's happening with 3.8. So if we really keep our eye on the roadmap in the next coming weeks, I think we'll find out what 3.8's actually going to look like. And because they should know now. Today, this week, next week, something like that, this is how they explained it to me, and I think everybody understands it very similar to me, is that we should have an update on 3.8 in terms of where it's going and what's going to happen, because they should have their, okay, we're going to finish server-side OCS and we're going to get Microtech in, or we're not going to finish server-side OCS and we're not going to get Microtech in. All right, that's out. Push it to 3.9. And we should start, they should be having those meetings now, is how they explained it to us. So my expectations are to start seeing some movement in 3.8 and 3.9 in the next 3 weeks, whether it's for the good or for the bad. And I'm always prepared for the bad. So we'll have to see.
Oh, well, we'll see. It's definitely going to be the question whether they continue delivering on what is promising in 3.7 or whether they're falling back into the old ways. But I'll just wait and see. I think, I mean, if it's not 3.8, that it's going to be 3.9, and nothing really is lost, because I think we're used to some delays now, and to me, as long as PU is stable, I don't really care what they put in, because I think whatever they planned for now, they've shown the ability to deliver it and release it when it's done.
Yeah, I mean, I played 2 4-hour sessions without a server crash, and
Yeah,
and on the
it's
first
actually
2
really
days of a live patch. That's very strong.
There is one thing that is a little bit off topic and not on the radar currently, that is worrying me, and that is the state of the flight model and proximity, which I absolutely don't like. I liked even the
I think
worst
proximity
iteration of
assist
hover
is on topic.
hover mode infinitely better than proximity. Pardon me, sorry.
So I'm sorry. I'm being Mr. Interrupter again, like an asshole. So I just was saying that that I think proximity assist is very much on topic. It's a feature that came in 3.7.
Yeah, it is on topic, but I don't like it.
Well, you don't have to. Being happy with something isn't the topic. It's what your thoughts are on 3.7.
Yeah, but that's kind of the point, because if that is that is something that at CIG because it touches the flight model, you can just in a gravity well in atmosphere point a ship nose down and it doesn't move, and that is utter bullshit. And I hope if it's just an intermediary step, they drew back a hover mode.
100% is.
I wasn't there. I'm okay with it, but if anyone at CIG think that is an acceptable final state, I'm actually worried.
They don't. So I'll send you a link if I remember. If I don't, message me. I'll send you a timestamp to when they discussed it on a Star Citizen Live or I think it was Star Citizen Live, and you'll be able to hear what they say. This is step 1 of 2. So this was basically get rid of hover mode and smooth out the accelerations when you get close to a surface, and then step 2 is to, when you press J and your thrusters rotate in 3.7, it's to make that be a thing. And your goal is to stay level. Otherwise, your ship will have trouble floating. So the idea is to make sure you stay level. They don't want that nose pointed down, really weird feeling either. They still want your thrusters to be a thing, but our ships just don't fly like helicopters anymore. That's kind of all they're getting rid of. Which is,
okay.
Well, I think it'd be cool if some ships fly like helicopters, personally. I thought that was cool.
To be fair, the idea was great.
The idea was great, but they even, and again, I'll send you that link, they explain that with all the other parts of the game that they built leading up to this, they don't work together. Yep. So if they were, it would take an entire game rework to get your ship to fly like a helicopter. And for once, CIG did the right thing and scrapped something that would have created more work. So
okay.
I like the idea of how they flew. Obviously, the first implementation wasn't great, but I also like the idea that they just said, you know what? This isn't going to work. Let's move on. Let's keep making the game. And I was like, okay, that made me happy.
Let's see how it works out. And just the one final note, I think caves are mind-blowing. I'm just totally blown away by that implementation.
Yes, I haven't even mentioned caves yet. I think because I've been kind of going in them since the PTU, and they're like sort of less exciting for me now. But even like the vaulting, and then when you go into a certain room that has the bioluminescence, it's amazing.
There's so much potential. So I think that's one of those features I never knew I wanted, and now I love it.
Exactly. I think we all, when they said it, were like, come on, man, make the game. And then you go in it and you're like, but all the gameplay that can be inside of these is incredible. Right? So I think it's, I agree. I think that's probably the most pleasant surprise from 3.7 besides the overall quality of life.
So
all right,
that's about it.
All right, man. Thank you for calling in. I'll let you go.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye now. I was very in on our conversation with Beltar, so I'm just gonna get our next caller set up and ready to go right now. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's hard to judge just one patch, right? Is we're looking at this and we're like, is this going to be it? Is this going to be the trend? And it's really hard to say with just 3.7. I think we have to give it through 3.8 and through 3.9 to really know did staggered development work? Is it working? And was 3.7 just a fluke? So we'll have to see. But let me go ahead and bring in Groth now. Groth, welcome. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
So, what are your thoughts on 3.7? How are you enjoying it? Not enjoying it?
I did not play that much, maybe 90 minutes or so,
Okay.
and solo, so I couldn't test much of the sharing features. But I think the sharing feature is something that was so direly needed now for 4 years since roughly since we first saw 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
So especially in something that's going to be an MMO, we need to engage more into group play and make it not fully dependable on RP to get our group fun ongoing.
Yeah, it's the whole mission sharing thing is very first implementation too. Like, there's lots of future features to it that I'd like to see. Like right now, you can only share to the full party. And like we were trying to do it today where we had a whole group that was out there in the verse doing all sorts of different missions, and they were sharing it with just me. So they would split the money with me, and I was hopefully going to have money coming in from everywhere. And for whatever reason, I don't know if people were accepting the missions or not. But I was getting, for a 4,000 credit mission, I was getting less than. So I don't know if there were some issues with the math, or if we were having problems with people accepting them in the party that shouldn't have. So there's definitely I would love to be able to share with an individual rather than just the full party. But I love the first implementation. I mean, it just works. You do it and it works. So that's not a normal experience with Star Citizen, right? You usually go ahead and pop into Star Citizen and go, all right, let me try to do this. And then it's like, well, that didn't work. And then you ask somebody in chat and then it works. Some workaround that you have to do. But today it just worked. I don't know.
Yeah, then in terms of quality of the patch, I agree that's a really good thing, that it just gets the people that at this point are already interested in the existing mechanics, that they will stay longer in the game, and that will show also people who might be now interested to start into the game more, that it is to this extent more playable now.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not one of them, but I can see it, and I like it that it's not this jar that there are so many CTDs and bugs that just make, if you just have 2-3 hours time on a weekend,
you can get something done.
It should be now way better in terms of playability.
Yeah, you can actually experience the game a little bit. And again, there are still bugs in this game. This game isn't perfect by any means, right? There's quantum travel bugs I mentioned earlier. There was issues with voice over IP still, but it's...
Yeah, but at times it was horrible.
But in previous patches, it was 10 times worse than this. And especially on the initial release, okay? The initial release, we're talking, this is the first live patch. They haven't patched it again. This isn't a 0.1, nothing. This is the first live patch. The issues that people are having now are hopefully going to get worked out over the coming weeks as well, right? So it should get better from here to some extent, because we also know that after a time, they start to ignore the servers a little bit, and they once a server degrades, you usually have more issues. It seems like, but yeah, again, I really don't have anything. So, like some general workarounds before we continue, Groth. Turn off your global VoIP for right now. Do not join it until, maybe you see in the patch notes that it's not causing crashes or whatever. And then, I would say don't party. There's a lot of issues with quantum travel partying and quantum travel in general as well right now. But other than those two things, which, again, like I said, we hope they'll be relatively easy fixes, we're good.
Then to what you talked about with the first caller, I think there should be multiple classes, so to say, but there's always too many classes in some games that just try too much to specialize it, and then you have so many classes that in reasonable sized groups, especially when they're not certain skills that multiple classes have, that it's just getting really bad in terms of playability. So
yeah, I agree.
I
think
still
with,
stand to the original Mantis discussion.
Yeah, I just think with salvaging and mining, those need to be kind of specialized, and medical gameplay and combat and a few things should be able to be done by other ships, and they are. But combat ships should do them better, and I kind of think that falls in line with the Mantis as well.
I was just talking more about the subclasses that you have, like when I talked with you about the Mantis a few weeks ago, that you have like EMP, and then quantum interdiction, and then maybe E-War, that's certain different hacking or so, and then
different ways of doing a similar thing.
Yeah. I like the mining is there now in 3.7, and it's more accessible, both in terms of hand mining and in terms of renting, which we wanted for so long now. Even though it's expensive, but at least people can, at least with 1 day or 7-day trials, they can now work a bit to, especially with better playability in this patch, work a bit to get one ship rented, and then look if this ship is something for them. And this impression should last a few patches, so they, after the next reset, they might, and if we are lucky and the resets maybe at some point are only every second patch or so, then they can then go for at least the AUEC purchase then later on.
Yeah, I mean, I rented a Prospector today for 1 day. It was 42,000 credits, and I spent half an hour using it, and I only mined 1 rock, and it was a 23,000 credit rock.
Yeah, that's nice.
I made half my money back for the 1 day in 1 rock, and then, I had to stop and come on and do the show today. But if I would have kept going, I would have easily made that back in the 1 mining run. And by the way, the 1 rock only filled less than half of my Prospector, right? So I think it was like 15 SCU out of 32. So yeah, I mean,
the other thing with mining,
doable.
I hope that the hand mining will be less important in the end. At the moment, it has to be important because it's one of the few mechanics in. But I hope it's more a specialized thing that you have for special missions on special places, more or less, and that the game goes back and focuses more on space mining. It doesn't have to be Orion mining, but Prospector, maybe something then in similar or slightly bigger classes that then is the baseline for mining, and that not in a space game. And in a game that's so based on vehicles, we are playing it like one of those survival games on Steam.
Yeah, I sort of like currently in terms of hand mining, I like the way they did it in the asteroid belt, not necessarily the way they've done it anywhere else. The asteroid belt is great because the asteroids, some of them are hand mineable and Prospector mineable. And I'd like to, in the future, I'd like to see that as like, oh, there's a gem on this one, and it's like a rarity, right? So in that situation, you would pop out of it and go hand mine. And then similarly to that, it'd be a similar situation for hand mining on the planet's surface too, is that you would be using your ship, you would go out there, and you would find a rock that you were looking to mine with your prospector, but you're going to mine it with your hand mining tool first, get the really rare stuff off, and then finish it off with the prospector. And then I think caves are fairly rare, so the internal caves having good amounts of these rocks in them to mine is a good experience, I think, in terms of like that rare experience. Like if you want to do it, you can find it, but also if you come across it, it's like, ooh, that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
You feel similarly?
That's way better.
Yeah.
And then to the more critical parts, I like that they can refine patches now, but I mean, like we said many times, squadron after squadron, they will put more people onto the game, and there should be at least some acceleration. But wow, the squadron progress is bad. Very bad.
I can't look at the roadmaps anymore. I don't think they're realistic. I don't think they're sharing what's actually happening. And if they are sharing what's actually happening, it's kind of scary right now.
Yeah, especially if you look at the phase progress, where they have the orange for phase in progress, and they have phases in progress if it is still representative that are supposed to have been completed by Q2, and we're now finished with Q3, and that just looks frightening.
Mm-hmm.
And also with 3.8. We already had one thing removed this week with Vehicle HUD 4. I see that a lot of stuff is probably going to be delayed, especially in the ships. That is like when we had similar numbers with ships in the past, they were delayed.
Yeah.
And with the current parallel to Squadron 42 progression on SC, I think it's going to be a long time for SC. And that's why I personally this week started again with WoW. Because it was just too much. I just can't focus on this waiting game. Like I like taking a look here and then watching at your weekly reviews and having a talk with people.
Yeah.
Maybe playing an hour a week or so. But
I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
I think that's so healthy. Because, I mean, the thing about this staggered development thing and a patch like 3.7, and even looking at a patch like 3.8, which feels, again, pretty empty, is we're not getting much. So, I mean, like, if you look at the roadmap in the future, and if you say, all right, in 1 year's time, if everything that they do, say they're going to do, they do, which has never happened, this is all we're going to have, I don't think anybody is excited for the future. I think we're all excited for the future, but I don't think we're excited for the...
Yeah, I don't see even something I would call MVP before, like, the next 16 patches or so. It's...
Yeah,
I think they will take a long time, and
it really depends on
this is really getting the longest game
meshing.
development ever. Yeah, this will be probably the longest game development ever.
Yeah.
And I think people might defend that and say, yeah, but I think this will be longer than Duke. This will be super expensive. I think they need at least another 300 million. Some will be recouped with Squadron is really good, but I think this will be very costly, and I think that this will be a long time we have to wait.
We'll see. I mean, I'm not going to say any numbers or any idea, because I don't think we have any clue what's going on. It just
I just take the numbers, but with what they say, what they spent a year with roughly 50 million, and put that then to the years that I expect that
my fully
at least a decent game will.
I will not like I guess I just don't want to think about it until we see what happens with server-side OCS and object and server meshing, because at that point they should be able to start scaling what we would call an actual game. Because a lot of what's missing is there's no universe. And then once they have a universe to start building, they better start focusing on what we do in it. And they are to some extent, but not to the extent that we would expect from, like you said, like a minimum viable product or what we would consider a game. Where I think some people look at Star Citizen and call it a game or whatever, and everyone's going to feel differently and have different opinions. But if you compare it to any AAA game, yes, it has more features planned, it has more things on the docket, but every single feature, including mining, which came in and was very feature full, but is not feature complete, is at a tier 0 level. And that's how they're doing this. This is the worst part about it, is that everything that they put in game isn't even a quarter of what is planned for it. And then they have to go back and redo all of it all over again. So like you said, this is 3.7 is really exciting, but part of what made 3.7 exciting was that they took a step back and did less. And with doing less, it's doing more, in my opinion, and I think you sort of agreed, but the wait's going to be longer. But I think in this case, 100%, less is more. Focus on scaling the game so you can make it a game, and then we'll see what happens.
I just think that if I would have known that I wouldn't have put money into the game.
No,
and not
if anybody
the big amount.
I'm sorry, I think you are out of your mind if you knew that this is where we would be in October 2019. You would have spent 90% less than what you spent on the game currently. I think all of us would have.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially in 4 days, for me, it's 7 years.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. I mean, most of us were around this time 7 years ago. I think I was, a little bit later. I'm like April. So I don't think any of us would have done that. But at the same time, I'm like, positive spin on it. I feel good about 3.7, and I think they're doing the right thing by doing less. So we'll see.
Yeah, what I personally hope is that at least if it takes that long, and I'm not going to spend more, that one of those many backup space games I bought, especially DU, will deliver next year or the year after a good experience. And in terms of DU, I hope soon without the NDA and that streamers can rush in. And if you have something else that keeps you engaging, I think then it's going to be less of a chore.
Yeah. And that's, again, like, that's healthy. Play other video games. Nobody's telling you not to. Chris Roberts isn't telling you not to. The thing about Star Citizen is that you still know, if you've played it regularly, that game and this game will forever be in the back of your head while you're playing those other games, right? Every time I play another game, I have Star Citizen on my mind. It's like, ooh, if they do this in Star Citizen, man, that'd be cool. Ooh, if only Star Citizen was doing this, or if only, like, I always have it. Like, Star Citizen will forever be the game. But there's no problem with enjoying other experiences while you wait.
Yeah, for me, it's sadly, I must say sadly, exactly the same. Even though, for me, in my personal opinion, other than the physics grids, even in terms of multi-crew, there are always multiple games that do it better, including multi-crew, with which with that Star Trek game and that other indie multi-crew game. I think every aspect is at the moment worse than other games, but SC is big because how
The visuals.
engaged we at least were at some point. SC is a dream, and we hope that it comes at least close to this quality, and if we have even close to what we expect in terms of play area, content, and choice, and together this will be our dream game.
Yeah, for sure. And like, you can name any game on planet Earth, and they'll have done it better than CIG, but it won't look as good. And that's what kind of keeps us there, is that I think it's the hope that once they scale, they'll start focusing on how it plays a lot more, and we'll have to see. But,
yeah, I don't mind graphics. I'm playing Terraria. I'm playing retro 8-bit and 16-bit games a lot.
Me neither.
So I absolutely don't care about graphics.
Gameplay matters, but they care.
I still have the same feeling you have. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They care so much about it, and it does. I mean, there's no denying. Like Groth, I'm sure when you go in the game that you have some pretty, like, where you're in awe moments. I still do all the time. It's just the landscapes and everything, and every landscape that you're in is pretty dead and barren in terms of like the places that we're playing right now, and I'm still in awe of them. So
yeah, but some of the stuff that's special, I mean, not the procedural gen at that scale, but many of this like close physics and the volumetric clouds they're working on. The stuff is what was is now standard for the current CryEngine, and you see that the other engines, other games they're coming from behind, at least in terms of what graphically is doable, and I hope that SC will mainly counter it with gameplay.
Yeah, and I think they will eventually. It's just the focus is not there right now, and I think rightfully so. So we'll just have to be patient, I guess. But all right, Groth. We've depressed ourselves enough into realizing how long we have to wait for this game.
But at least the time we spent in 3.7 was a way better experience. So
absolutely.
So we can end on a good point.
And that's all that matters, right? Like, this is the one thing that Chris said, and I hate it. I hate the way he said it, and I hate the idea of it, but it makes some sense. Is that the idea of Star Citizen already being released, you could play it right now, and you're just along for the ride. And the ride's not as bumpy anymore. So I'm willing to strap in, put my seatbelt on again, and see how it's going to be. And if the ride gets bumpy again in 3.8 and 3.9, I'm just going to go and play other video games, right? And I'll jump back on if the ride's not bumpy anymore. It's just, that's how it has to be. I can't, and I don't think anybody else should just keep banging their head against the wall and trying to play a game that's not ready to be played. Like, I don't play the game like most streamers or YouTubers do, where they build a game inside of their own game. When I jump in the game, I fully intend to play the video game, and my mind is 100% on what the video game is right now, what the planned features are for the future, and how this that we're playing right now will affect that, and what this means for the future. That's always what I'm focused on. And that's why you see me rant, or you see me talk about a feature and say, I don't like it, because I don't think it's good for the future. But, and that's why I get upset about the game occasionally. But other people can enjoy it because they're making their own game inside of a game, and that's great for them, but that's not what I want. I bought Star Citizen, and I want to play it, and that's it. So
yeah, I disagree with Chris and many AAA publishers with their live services being told they are finished or already the game in terms of BF5, Anthem, and all the shit we have. I think this is the worst trend ever, and I think Chris should pull back a lot and face reality. But we are on the right, and we're not falling on our faces every 5 minutes now.
Yep.
Now it takes a lot longer until we have those bugs, but I think this is at least progress.
Exactly, and positive progress. But all right, Groth, I'll leave you there. We had a pretty long call, and we got a couple other guys to get in.
Thank you for having me, and have a nice day.
You too, man. Have a good one. All right, bringing on First Emperor. First, what's up, man?
I'm good, thank you. Do you need a little bit of positivity, I heard?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. So what are you thinking?
Yeah,
we've been playing together a lot, so.
Yeah, especially lately, which also says a lot. For me, it's pretty much the patch.
Okay.
I mean, there's still a lot that they have to do, etc., etc. I don't have to go into details there, but just the possibility to work myself up without the ship even. I just need to hitch a ride to Lorville, rent a ship, and I can start my adventure without anything. And that's it. And that's what always, no matter how many ships I have, and I have plenty, that's what makes the game good and fun for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could do it before, at least with buying ships. But if you have just an Aurora or a Mustang, working yourself up with just delivering boxes that maybe don't even work and wasting time endlessly. So I never played because it was just too rough for me with all the failing missions and no other way for me to really make some money.
Yeah, it was a challenge. Everything was was a challenge of your persistence and how much patience you had.
And how much time.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Zeus played for 200 hours, was able to afford a Cutlass just before the wipe, 5 minutes.
Yeah, Aurora to Cutlass,
That's just unreasonable.
Yeah.
And now you don't have to do this anymore because you can rent Prospector, for example, and work yourself up way more easily.
Yeah, a Cutlass is 27,000 to rent, I think, for one day. But yeah, still.
So yeah, that makes a huge difference for me. I love the caves. I love hand mining. I'm not much of a prospector mining kind of guy, and it's, I don't know, it's not.
It doesn't have to be your thing
for me myself.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm also not that much into trading. I'm not that much into delivering boxes, but now I can work myself up to fighter ships.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And caves are exciting.
Yeah. Caves are just that's what they are. They're exciting. Are caves there yet? The visuals are there. The audio is there, but there's not enough gameplay in them yet. So I'm just so excited to see 3.8, 3.9, 4.0, 4.1, whatever, the future of caves and where they go with them, because that's very, very exciting.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, man. Is there anything else before we go?
Game experience, maybe the game experience so far was great, especially when I was playing alone.
Okay. Yeah, when you it does get a little more dicey when you start playing with other people, and we had like 15 people together all in one spot today, so that was where we were starting to run into we were bumping into each other and killing each other. There were some problems.
Yeah, I mean, you start off with organizing, waiting for everyone. There is a lot of lost time. Then if one guy bugs out, then you have to wait again, and all that kind of chess that you don't have if you play alone or in a very small group.
Yeah.
And there's still some issues with the mission sharing and especially VoIP, like all the crashes happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think at one point only Pakula had it enabled and was crashing me out of the game. So yeah, I don't know. But we are in a really good place right now. If they manage to polish what they now have, I could play a lot more already.
Yeah.
I mean, how long? I don't know. Maybe a couple of months. Then
I didn't want to do answer the call today. I wanted to keep playing. That doesn't happen.
Yep.
That doesn't happen ever. I usually look forward to this every week. This was one of the first weeks that I was like, I don't want to do this. I just want to play Star Citizen.
Yeah,
That's all I wanted to do.
I'm gonna stop talking so you can play some more Star
Right.
Citizen.
Like we rented our prospector with the org today, and we want to go out, and I want to make sure that I make my money back.
Yeah. That sums it up pretty great too.
Yeah. It's true. It's just I'm itching to play. Well, like I haven't had an experience like that in a while, So that's pretty cool. It's very positive. I just hope the trend continues.
Yeah.
So we'll have to
chances
see.
are good.
Yeah.
3.8 will be very interesting if they can keep it up or not.
Well, the whole thing is if pieces of server-side OCS or full server-side OCS comes in, there's going to be bugs with it, right? There's going to be instability. We're going to have problems. It's just let's hope they get it to Evocati quick, PTU, test it as much as possible, and get it out to live.
Yeah. But it is very refreshing to have a pretty good patch again, because we didn't have any in a very, very long.
Agreed. Yeah. Cool. Well, all right. First, anything else before we bring on our final caller for the day?
No, I think if you have another caller, let's give him some time as well.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to give you the details, didn't I?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Send him whenever you have time.
I will. Okay.
Okay.
I'll talk to you. Be good first. Thank you for calling.
Oh, well. You're welcome. See
you later. Oh, we actually have another caller that just snuck in right now, and so we'll bring him in after ASN here. But right now we have ASN. Welcome. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Positive. Not SaltEMike today. Positive Mike today.
Well,
Sweet
another change
Mike.
of name incoming, right?
Yeah, we gotta do it. Rebrand.
Yeah. What do I think? Yeah. So basically, I played yesterday for 5 hours, I think.
Okay.
Played with a friend that I usually play with. Yeah. Overall, so there were like 3 big things that I had an issue with in SC Live in general, and this has been going on for the past year. So like the 3 things that I wanted to have addressed were, number 1, accessibility of existing game mechanics within the game.
Okay.
Which was always like mining needs to be more accessible. People need to be able to, because it's in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like
the
we had this
focus on the
discussion last
selling
year.
of ships needs to go away, and this is a huge step.
Yeah.
To getting
we had
that
this discussion
stigma
last year.
out.
Exactly, with the prospector. We were angry about the prospector, and that was one thing that really pissed me off, because you put that mechanic in the game and people are already calling this a tech demo, and you are just taking another part of it away and you lock it behind something, right?
Yeah.
And that makes it less of a game. Actually, it does. It actually does. You're actually locking a feature behind something.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the main gripes that I had. So with this patch, not only have they also, I'm going to talk about that in another way, but like with this patch, they've opened FPS mining, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think in their like design ideas, anything FPS is generally cheaper than ships. Like you can see, like guns are cheaper, ammo is cheap, grenades are cheap. So that kind of tells you that the design is saying, hey, it's much easier to let other people join you than everybody go out with their own ship.
Yeah.
Because it's less costlier, it's more accessible, and it's also more accessible for any other player out there. First-person mechanics are like the easiest to grasp. You're walking, you're looking, that's it.
Yeah.
So opening up FPS mining with a tool to everyone with that price range, where it's relatively cheap, the items, is amazing. Like that's like, I was very happy that they opened up that mining mechanic to the first-person gameplay as well. So that was number 1.
And they made it so valuable that it doesn't. The prospector still isn't so powerful in comparison to it. You can legitimately do that and buy yourself a ship with it.
Yes. So that's the other part. The second part was progression.
Uh-huh.
We don't have a lot of time from patch to patch, right? When you analyze it, you have about like on average 2 to 3 weeks or sometimes like 4 weeks generally, but there's something in between. But you have at max a month between patches, but usually you have 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
How can a player within this time frame enjoy any type of progression? How can you actually justify that time frame for this alpha state?
Yeah.
And as always, I said renting would actually do that.
Yeah.
Now that they've added renting, there's actually a point of me going into the game, doing some stuff, and checking out a new ship. And again, also I would call ship content, because every ship acts differently. Every ship has a different flavor. It's part of the game. It's not content as in profession content, but it's still part of the game. It's still unique. It's still different.
Well, and currently that's what it is. But even like looking towards the future of the game, it is progression content.
They have different characteristics that players want to check out. So that also got unlocked, which is the second big step. Progression is unlocked, and also accessibility to a dozen of ships for relatively good prices. Like I've done the math a little bit. I looked at how I play, and these are good prices. I mean, obviously they can be a little bit cheaper, but I think on average they're good. So the second problem, progression, also solved, and that also unlocks the prospector.
Yeah.
So again, accessibility to mining from both sides, from FPS and ship side.
Yeah.
So those two big issues for me have been solved in one patch. I wanted it to be solved 2 patches ago, but okay, I'll take it. It's great that we finally got here.
I mean, CIG takes their time with stuff, but again, I agree with you completely. And then what's even more exciting is you look at the monthly report, and they're talking about potentially persisting your UEC and your purchases, your ship purchases.
Yes.
So it's like they said it on Star Citizen Live. Now they're saying it in the monthly report. There's a chance that everything we're doing right now in 3.7 is going to carry over to 3.8. There's a chance. It's probably an incredible, or 3839. Like, it's an incredibly small chance, but there's a chance.
They're working
on it. So that, maybe it's something for a feature between 3.8 and 3.9. Maybe it's not. But they mentioned that they're working on it in the roadmap. They mentioned it on a Star Citizen Live. And let me tell you something. It seems like everything that they do, everything that they say, has some calculation to it. They would not mention it if they didn't pass it down the line and get approval of mentioning it, kind of thing. So if they mention it,
obviously,
it means that it's something that we're going to have in our hands, likely in the near future. So
that's important, because what I'm looking at is the current experience, right? So I'm not thinking about the overall game. I'm looking at what is available now, and that's actually how they want us to treat the game in general. So let's just take it as this is the reality. So we have the mechanics of mining have been opened up from both ends.
Yep.
We have progression in alpha now, which for the first time ever is a thing. That's a big step. It's a start. Obviously, there's going to be other steps, like the second step, as you said. Your money transfers over. Other things go over, like reputation, and then after a while, it looks like we're playing from patch to patch with everything, all of our data stored. But anyway, so the third point was the AI. So ever since 3.4, 3.4 the dogfight AI broke. 3.5 they fixed it, but it was weird. 3.6 it was a little bit weird as well. With 3.7, I'm much more happier with the AI. Obviously, it's not done, but at least the AI developers are seeing results of their implemented code, while previously we were just playing against broken AI, especially on the FPS side.
Are you ready for this,
getting
ASN?
bunkers.
3.7 AI entries 2. 3.8 AI entries 7.
Yeah. Because they're also working on the squadron stuff. But I'm saying, just in general, the bug fixing on the FPS AI, the addition of their movement and them taking cover, I immediately see it. Obviously, the server getting slight lag is still there, but I got killed on an FPS bunker mission yesterday. We were fighting against 4 AI with 2 people. And I have
and you got flanked?
I played tactical FPS games for 6,000, 7,000 hours experience of those things. So we got flanked, and I've never been this rushed in a game. Like, they literally flanked us at our back, and I just shot and reacted, and he did as well. But the third person got us, the third AI. But anyway, I'm saying that instead of sitting there now, which actually the AI developers never obviously don't want to code something that just sits there. They've obviously coded something else that does not work in the multiplayer environment. But instead of sitting there like before, they fixed it now. Those issues that they had, the small ones, that they're now moving. They're now shooting, they're now reacting, they're now thinking about flanking and stuff. And they actually listen to the audio as well because they kind of move to where you shoot.
Yeah.
So that is a big thing. So the third thing was AI. Like I wanted the AI to be better. On the dogfight side, the AI wasn't too bad. It was okay. It did a pass. But I just had a dogfight yesterday. That was exciting. Like it was dodging, moving, going around, trying to circle around me. It was actually exciting to dogfight.
Yeah, playing Pirate Swarm was somewhat challenging at times.
Yeah, so it's definitely those three things that I wanted to have addressed have finally been addressed within this year. So I'm really happy. Obviously, this is like not going to be the end. There needs to be other steps forward. But the caves are a good step because a lot of people complained, oh, there's nothing to do on planets. So now we add this thing here as an extra. Like a lot of people take these things as like, oh, their focus is now caves. This is it. The game is going to be about caves. Now, like, this is just a small part of what you can do on a planet. The bunkers were one, the caves are the other. They'll add 1, 2, 3, 5 more other things for sure eventually. Yeah. So the caves are good. As you said, everything works within their systems and they're really intricate to discover. They're actually a little, like, even claustrophobic to be in. Sometimes you cannot really find your way out. It's really scary.
Yeah.
But it made really a lot of sense to tie that in with FPS mining. Yeah. As soon as they added those rocks in there, it kind of makes sense. Without them, it would literally be like the most boring thing ever. You just go in there, looks nice, you leave, you never go back in again.
The one thing they said was that there was going to be like other items if you didn't have a mining tool to pick up, and those aren't in yet. So even just adding that layer, I mean, there are other items, like there's the Imashi Plague and the poop, but there are, like, they showed like a data pad, right? And we didn't really get a good look at those, or seen any of them yet.
I think they're around,
at least I haven't. But maybe I'm a little too focused on the mining part and not on but I have not seen a data pad or anything other than the poop and the Imashi Plague.
Yeah, so the caves, the harvestables, the personal inventory, these are all things that make the game slightly more engaging, like new content, new additions on top of the experience that was there. So positive. Yeah. But the other three things I talked about are actually what is a massive design change, a massive gameplay change that will influence all types of player behavior. And that is very important for me. So overall, I'm very happy with this patch. It's not like the greatest patch, but it is a very good patch. Like if we have these patches like on top of each other like this with this quality, and obviously with the 0.1s, 0.2s on top, then
the future's bright.
I think it could go well. Depends on how the 3.8 stuff goes, and we still don't know what's going to happen with Microtech, which is like the big unknown.
It's a huge question. 3.8's a big question mark.
Yeah, they might even just reshuffle everything.
Yeah,
like we don't know. So, but
it
for
has
this
to
patch,
happen.
I'm happy.
Well, as a game, like for those of you guys that don't know, ASN's a game developer. Like I will kind of lean on him and ask him some certain questions about it, so I understand a little bit better. In terms of what they told us for staggered development, the idea of it is that they'll be working on features for 3 months, and at that 3-month period, they'll decide whether or not it's going to be ready for 3.8, right? Which means they'll be building the features for 3 months or 1 quarter, and then the remaining quarter is for implementation and bug fixing.
Yes, that's correct.
So, like, am I correct in having expectations of we should know what's happening with 3.8 in the coming weeks instead of the coming months, like how it was previously?
True. So technically speaking, 3.8 has been worked on while 3.7, like basically, July, August, September, the features of 3.8 are being worked on. And when 3.7 releases, the team looks at, like, basically right now in CIG, they're looking over if everything they're saying like there is like what they're doing, how they're doing it. It's basically right now they're looking at everything they developed for 3.8, and they're like analyzing and evaluating it. You're like, okay, what else do we need for this? Do we need more time, or do we need just polish? Is it going good? Isn't it going bad? And then that's how they'll decide if it hits 3.8 or not.
Yeah.
But like it's that extra time that is actually I can understand for some features it's really relieving. Like basically how Lorville was developed, I think was also staggered. Honestly, it took like several quarters to develop Lorville, Hurston.
Yeah.
Like some parts of their studio were always staggered. It's just they're trying to switch everything to it.
Yeah.
So basically, when we get 3.8, there will already be development for 3.9 happening, right? And
Correct.
they'll be working on that. So that's how it will. It just like overlaps each other. The thing is, though, that still doesn't change the fact that certain unknown things happen in development, and then you're developing a feature for 3 months, and then another feature changes with this type of development where the engine also changes, which is like it's so weird, like because you're literally it's like flying a plane when you're trying to build the wings. Like it's literally that saying, because one part of the game changes the other. So you might be working on a feature that might break or actually stall because another part of a team is working on an engine side part where it connects and it correlates with the data and the code. So you need to wait for them, or you get deprioritized. All this stuff happens all the time at CIG.
Yeah.
That's why development at a studio like that is really difficult. It's really, really challenging. But I don't know what they're going to do with 3.8. It looks like they want to do a tier 0 of server-side OCS with a tier 0 persistence. That's essentially what they said. They're like, we got this prototype working in memory and on server, and we think it can work as a prototype. The tests are good because we read the monthly reports. They tested it 2-3 times. So they have confidence that even if the tests are good, that this might be worth rolling out and expanding as we go, because technically if it works, that's the only thing they need. They don't need to develop like the full thing if the prototype itself is functional, so I think that's what they're debating.
Okay.
Is it worth pushing this prototype and risking unknown consequences in the future, or are we going to wait and develop the full thing and figure out how to do that, and on top of that, what are we going to do with Microtech? Like if it comes in, then we put in what happens. Because they need to profile everything. That's how they do it. So basically add it, then they add Microtech, everything they have in, and then they profile. They look at how the servers react, how performance is on local and network, and then they profile it according to the previous patches and the previous changes. And then that's how they measure, what is better, what is worse, what are the effects of each.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I understand a little better now. So, I don't know. So hopefully in the coming weeks we have a little bit more of an idea.
Yeah, there should be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be something in the
it's
coming weeks.
better to know it earlier than for that last minute to them pull stuff and be like, oh, I was looking forward to that feature, right? And like you can kind of get it out of the way, and then you have your expectations for the patch. And I think that's what was good about 3.7 and why we feel good about it. Even though like kind of last minute they pulled things and changed them, they threw it. Once they decided to make the change, they threw in what was going to be there. They surprised us a little bit with the Mantis, which I think was terrible. I think that everything around that ship was just poor. Poorly implemented. Like poor implementation of a ship sail, poor implementation of bringing a ship into a patch. I think all of it was just... Well, I don't want to take... Because the ship is in the patch and it works. But it just, in general, I think it's a stupid ship and completely pointless. But that's for a whole nother podcast. And I think we've already had that podcast, to be honest. So it's just...
My overall opinion is enabling something that's in the game again, even if it's interdiction, means that it will be enabled for other ships, for other things in the future. So the more they open up with that stuff, it's better. Like, interdiction in general, I think.
The positive about it is they could see how stupid it is that all you could do is troll other players, and because you gain no benefit from interdicting a player and you gain no benefit from killing them right now, so there's literally 0 point in bringing this into the game. So
so correct me on this because you play a bit more than I do. Don't ships with cargo drop their cargo? Because I heard somebody say that. They drop
mission-sized boxes, and you get to gather them up by hand, and we're talking hours of time for almost nothing.
All right.
Like if you blow up a caterpillar, it'll take you 2 hours, 3 hours to gather up all the mission boxes, and you'll
like 10
get
people.
Yeah, with like 10 people, and you'll get like nothing for it. So
Okay.
the value's not there. I think what they need to do iteration wise with something like the Mantis is go, okay, I turned on my quantum interdictor, and now I'm going to get an NPC ship, and when I kill that NPC ship, I get money, or when I kill that NPC ship, it drops something of value for me.
It drops money.
Yeah.
Well, GTA, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that I think goes against how they want to do things in the future. That's why they're not doing something like that.
Yeah,
I
but
think
you're
they want to
gonna-
add other
you're gonna-
systems to quickly get that cargo in your ship. That's I think because they want to use everything physicalized. So I think they want to use a machine to kind of pull things in or whatever, some kind of sci-fi explanation. But
that's fine, but that
that would
doesn't
make more
change the
sense.
argument for a ship just like this. A ship just like this, if you're gonna spend money, I have no idea how much the ship costs. I don't even want. Do we know
I think
how
it
much
was like
it costs?
160, 140 something.
140. Okay.
I don't know.
If I'm gonna spend that kind of money on anything, it needs to. When it comes into the game and it has I think it was a half implementation. Personally, I think it only working against players and not really doing anything for NPCs where you can benefit from it isn't cool. So you could do, the kind of hand wavium that we do now to make money and all that stuff. And I don't know. I just think it probably needed another patch before it came in. So when you interdict an NPC, there's some sort of a benefit to it, and then players won't just use it to troll at Port Olisar. They'll use it elsewhere. Like we were having a problem. Like some guy was just outside of Hurston and had his thing on, and nobody can quantum in or out. Like it was.
He blocked the entire.
Yeah, it was just like, why? Why is this?
He
a
didn't
thing?
have anybody with him to. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Why is this even a thing? Just it was.
Yeah,
the
it will
dumbest thing I've ever
change.
seen.
It will change. I know, but
I know it'll change. And it was just
they'll look into it.
like I always just
It needs
go.
to be. That's the thing I
CIG
say,
learns
like,
from their lessons, and
they do.
Let's learn from this.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? It needs to be in for them to understand what it is. Like everything is so different in design. No, everything is so different in design.
Did we all call it exactly what it was gonna be? A month or however long this ship sale was, the second they said what it was, did we not call it this would be exactly what it was, which was weeks before it was ever implemented? Like someone in chat saying it's hardly a problem. I agree, it's hardly a problem in terms of like a gameplay element, right? But the problem with it is that somebody spent money on that. That's the problem.
That is, but
that's the problem, guys.
Part of another issue of how this game, like, it's not an issue, it's another topic of how this game is being funded. That like the other thing is design, right? Like a designer looks at the ship and is like, okay, we got to add interdiction into the game. How can we make it? Is we can create this web, we can make it, make an engine of it, and then put it in a ship. And they still don't know how it behaves because it has never been tested. The developers don't look at things like players do all the time. They can guess, but you never know how things work until it's actually tested. And honestly, I think the community reaction was worse because they thought the thing would be much more dangerous or much more like I played yesterday, wasn't interdicted at all.
No, it's a
zero.
Yeah. It just comes down to if you're going to spend money on a ship, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it have an implementation of an actual in-game benefit other than this kind of thing. And before I previously mentioned, I think the ship is too specialized, and like you said, that means hopefully that more. And we also heard in the Q&A that we're going to see more from interdiction in regards to other ships as well, right? And that was the best thing about this sale, is that they got to hear our concerns and then start adding to the design ideas based off of our concerns with it, because we're the ones who actually play the game. I think that was far and beyond the most positive way that they implemented everything. Was the ship sale took a little while, which was, I think, a little ridiculous, but I think what was holding up the ship sale was the development of it. And then, but the big positive was saying, all right, here's a general idea of what the ship is, go, ask questions. And then they go, oh, they can go, oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, that's true. That won't make much sense. Okay. and then the design of the ship when it's actually implemented into the game properly should be a lot better.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of the Mantis sail. I just don't like the idea of the ship. Period.
I just like the fact that it came with some type of game mechanic, just like the Prospector did. And Prospector was a concept for a while before the mechanic made it in.
Yeah.
I hope in the future they try to make ships like that as well, like where they think about the mechanic and put it in with the ship or to the game in general, because I think that's very important. The other thing about small thing, like I had a good time with voice over IP yesterday in 2 sessions. So I don't know, sometimes I think it's really server dependent too, but we were on local and party for like 3-4 hours, and we talked to other players in Lorwell and around. So it worked very well for us. When it works, it is really, really good.
Yeah.
I hope they stabilize that thing. It's been a year. It's going to be a year soon that they added it. So it needs to work. Yeah, overall I'm happy. I just hope they keep up this more gameplay focused and polish focused
Agreed.
flow. Yep.
Agreed. All right, ASN.
All right.
I'm gonna let you go, and we're gonna bring in our last caller. And thank you for your call as always, man. I appreciate it.
All right, same.
Talk
Take
to you
care.
later, dude.
Later.
Bye now. All right, and our final caller is Chosen Link, and I think you're a first-time caller, right? How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going? Yep.
I'm good. So, what are your thoughts so far on 3.7?
I tend to agree that yes, this is without a doubt the best patch.
Yeah.
And I don't have much of a history with Star Citizen. I jumped in around 3.5, I believe.
Okay.
Right after the last CitizenCon.
Okay.
So I'm fairly recent in terms of updates. But yeah, without a doubt, this is perhaps the best update. I mean, there's a lot of quality of life things that they added. One of the things that I don't think anyone mentioned was they added gimbals to starter ships. So I only have a Mustang Omega, and it's always been a hassle. It's been a hassle just doing solo missions, doing dogfights, just because of the fixed weapons, my fixed pea shooters. And now with gimbals, it's significantly improved sort of the quality of life of the game. So yeah, so for you guys out there, this is the patch to. I feel that this is the patch to jump in.
Yeah, I hate auto gimbals, but I think that they are the perfect implementation on a ship like an Aurora or a Mustang to get starting players into the game. I think they're amazing. I don't know how they should be as you move on to like specialized like combat ships, and I think they have a lot of work on trying to figure out how fixed weapons and just standard gimbals versus auto gimbals are gonna balance amongst each other, and I think they have a lot of work ahead of them with that, and I think they know that and they're gonna work on it. But I think that like you bring up a really good point, and I totally forgotten. You sound like a little bit like you're in a cave. People are saying, and so people are having a little bit of a hard time understanding you. But he brought up, yeah, I don't know if you're on like a webcam mic or not, but
probably,
yeah,
probably the noise reduction thing.
Okay, yeah. See if you can mess around with it a little bit, and while you're doing that, I'll kind of repeat what you said. Is he brought up the fact that you can now put gimbals on size 1 weapons, which means you can use auto gimbal and you can use gimbal on ships like the Aurora MR and the Mustang Alpha. So for a new player, it's already pretty overwhelming to try to experience Star Citizen as it is, and this is a really good step for a new player to enjoy it because they just go in, you have your auto gimbals on, and your aim is a lot easier, especially with AI that are a little bit more difficult to deal with, since they're quite good at attacking you now. They're moving around. It's not a similar AI experiences to what we've had in the past. But yeah.
Yeah. This better?
It sounds so much better. Yes.
Yeah. It was I think the wrong mic. But sort of to add to that, it actually came. I didn't have to buy any gimbals. It actually came installed by default. So that was the first surprise. I thought that I had to go out and buy gimbals. So the ship came with gimbals now installed by default. So that was pretty nice. And I'm not too versed with the higher end, the higher tier ships. So I don't know how auto gimbals is going to affect that quality of gameplay. But I mean, I could assume that I mean, if it's just like the starter ships, essentially you're going to laser down anything that moves. So I could see how that could be an issue. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they triggered this thing that's on another scene, and I don't know why it triggered here, and I have no way of fixing it. So hopefully they don't troll too much during your call. I apologize. So if everybody heard a random sound, it's like a funny thing that we have for our live stream, but for some reason it's playing here. So yeah, we're going to try to not trigger any of those, but I think I'm going to trigger them into triggering it. So yeah, they're doing it still. So I apologize.
Yeah, I have your stream muted. So yeah, I think when you spam emotes.
Yeah, when you spam certain emotes, a sound will come up. So they just gnomed everybody. It's a mess. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really big, and it's always a cool perspective to have from like somebody coming in as late as you did. A lot of the times, the people who are comfortable coming on the show aren't new backers, and we've been through it all. And I think a lot of the time, this show in particular is enticing to people because we've been here forever, and we like to complain about being here forever. And it's nice to have like fresh perspectives from people who didn't deal with the mismanagement and the crap that we dealt with before, and we're only here for basically the good stuff, and they can be more positive about things. And so I've
been hearing a lot of that, but yeah, I pretty much jumped in. I actually didn't know that I had a game package, so I have a date of 2014. I guess the Star Citizen came bundled in with my AMD card, my old AMD card.
Oh my god! So you have a Mustang Omega.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and that has its own challenges. Like I can't do any box missions, and they didn't give me an Aurora to.
But guess what? If you fly to Hurston, an Aurora is only 2,000 credits to rent for one day.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I haven't checked out the renting yet, but I'm going to try that out later today. Yeah, I was playing basically all last night. And another thing that was just brought up was the AI. There's been a lot of issues in the past. In the more recent past with the AI. They said that they fixed it, but they never did. There's janky AI, ships sort of just being stuck. But yeah, I'm really surprised how I guess the current state of the AI. And like I said, I feel like this is the patch to go in and get sort of your feet wet for first time. And it's actually pretty good. I guess it's sort of leading up to the next CitizenCon and the next Free Flight. Like personally, I'm going to try to get a few of my friends to join in. But yeah, I think it's in a pretty good state now, sort of coming into the next CitizenCon.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. So, and that's the whole other thing about this patch maybe not having a ton of features. And you bring up another awesome point. CitizenCon's like a month away. So even if caves get a little bit boring or the content dries up a little bit, we have so many things that we can talk about and get excited for post CitizenCon because they're going to share a lot with us. And I don't know, me personally, I've been around for a while, and I'm assuming at the time that you came in, and if you've been following the development at all, you would probably feel the same way, is that this seems to be the time where they're finally ramping everything up.
Yeah.
And I think this CitizenCon should show a lot of that ramping up, and I think it should be really exciting. I don't think we're necessarily going to I don't think they're going to drop things in CitizenCon like that day to us, like, oh my god, this is in. But the focus of development, I think, is going to be on things that we are excited about.
Right. Yeah. I've been hooked. Yeah. So I mean, I've been following the development stuff since the last CitizenCon. That's when I actually jumped in, and I've been following it pretty closely. I've been following your channel.
Thanks, man.
Watching on Twitch, your YouTube. Yeah. I mean, it's really, really exciting, and there's actual stuff to do now and stuff to look forward to. Especially with the rentals. So I'm going to try and rent out a Prospector. That's sort of on my to-do list.
Yeah, man.
I haven't had a chance to do any of the hand mining. I got to Hurston, but I guess they have some sort of supply and demand thing where things run out.
Yeah.
So I couldn't buy any hand tools or anything.
It's tough.
So I'm going to,
But if you wait there, it only takes a few minutes. If you wait there, one will show up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just
I guess I'll
be
try
patient.
that.
But like every couple minutes, like every 1 to 3 minutes, they restock, but they don't restock like a ton of them. It's just like a couple every few minutes, and the people will be waiting there. And the one thing about Star Citizen nowadays that wasn't before is that the shopping terminal and anything that you do like cargo hauling and all that stuff is all stored on one server. So if I'm on an Australian server and you're on a US server, and I'm buying mining tools and you're buying mining tools, we're buying from the same pool. So as far as the shops go, we're all on one big server. But as far as the whole game currently, we're on different ones. So that's why they're constantly running out, is somebody's always buying them. Even though where you're at the moment, nobody's there, somebody is there, is what's happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually tried to switch servers, and that didn't really help.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference because it's a global thing. Yeah, so shopping is global, but the game currently isn't yet. But yeah, I guess Chosen, I think we'll leave you there. We did way longer of an episode than I thought. Is there anything you want to say before I let you go?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, man. I appreciate the call very much, and I'm glad you've been enjoying the content recently. So thanks for calling in. All right, he left. So guys, that is going to be it. In the future, and if you've made it through this episode, the future of Answer the Call, and I let it get away from me, and I have before, is 45 minutes max is the goal, I think, for me. So I don't want to do like this really long form podcast anymore. I want to keep it to a much more reasonable length. So I don't know how to do it, but for some, maybe it'll depend for the topic, right? But yeah, I do want to, I have to figure it out. But I think 45 minutes is probably good. That can't happen if the intro is 15 to 20 minutes. Shut up. Yeah, but I guess it's true. So I have to figure some things out with all that. But yeah, I have a lot to think about. But let me know in the comments below if you've made it this long. Do you prefer the longer ones? Do you prefer the shorter ones that are like really hyper on topic? But yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to figure it out. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, hit the like, the subscribe, all that. If you haven't checked out the hand mining video, do that, but just so you know, a few things have changed in the sense of finding hand minables on planetary surfaces is much more difficult. So, yeah. Sad. But, guys, I'll catch you later. Have a great one. I'm exhausted. I can't even think anymore. Bye, everybody!